Welcome to the week of April 14th, 2025. It's another week of wild energy. And yeah, it's a lot. It's not just you. It's the whole world. We are coming off of a full moon in Libra that happened this past Saturday. And during that full moon, we are having Aries, so impetus to do, shining a light on the full moon in Libra. And that's really highlighting this deep longing so many of us feel like right in our face for justice and for things to stabilize and for everyone to be okay. That's what this moon has been about. You know, and for us trauma survivors and people with autism, autists, this energy is closely mirroring the same trauma that we grew up with, this feeling of not having any control about knowing what's right and not having anybody listen to us, wanting things at a very deep level to be fair, and not having any ability to do anything about it. And here we are adults, and feel like we're in charge of our world. And in this situation, it feels like we are really out of control. But you know what? That's an illusion. Right now, the sun is walking hand in hand with Chiron, the wounded healer. So that really adds to this deep desire for justice, this need for fairness, and for the pain that we're all feeling to be healed. That's the activity that the sun is interested in right now, and starting a new healing cycle. Pain is always leading us to the healing and the growth, making things right and making things better. And sometimes we need to have it right in our face before we address it. If we haven't addressed it before, we keep doing the same thing. We're never going to fix it until it gets bad enough that we've got to do something about it. And that's where we are in many respects on the national level. But I want to point out that this is also happening for us on an inner level. But let me get back to that. And I think it's important for a lot of us to recognize that this isn't about fixing the government. I mean, it is. But it's also about us healing ourselves. And the more healthy we are, the more we're going to be bringing that energy into the real world here. The healthier we can be, the more we're adding layers of healthiness to the world at large. And that's our job here. And when it feels like you can't do anything for the outside world, then work on healing yourself. Because if we're stuck in hating ourselves and being hard on ourselves and going over that over and over again, oh, I screwed up, or oh, I'm bad, or I can't do it, or whatever it is, what are we doing when we do that? We're getting on the side of the abusers. It's not helpful to be hard on ourselves. That's not where self-control comes from. It's not from being hard on ourselves. We don't want to be to ourselves the restriction and meanness that we've experienced in the past. Just because that's been modeled for us before, and we think that that's the way the world is supposed to be, that's just not true. And that's what the astrology is all about this week and in past weeks and coming up. So we may as well roll up our sleeves and get to work on ourselves. Sorry. That's how we heal the political situation, is by all of us being healthy in our own selves. And empathy is the key to all of this. And hear me out. What if everyone was healed of whatever trauma happened to them that made them think that being mean is a good idea, or that being mean means you're powerful and being powerful is the most important thing? Like, can you imagine how crippled inside you have to be to? I can imagine it because I used to believe that. It's horrible. That feeling of dread and insecurity and having to constantly one-up everybody and be the tougher one and shoot your dog, or, whatever expression it is that you feel like you've got to be in control. It's a horrible feeling, and can you imagine what the world would be like if all of that was healed? We've got to start with ourselves so we can bring it to other human beings. And if we can have true empathy for other people, here's the big deal. Here's the key item. If we have empathy for them, it takes all the fear that we might be feeling inside away. Because now they are looking pitiful, not strong. And then we are not lost in this tumble dry of emotion. We're able to take action from that because we're no longer fearful of these baboons. It begins with the moon in Scorpio. So that can have us feeling like we want to be reclusive. We want to be kind of left alone, perhaps. We want to focus in on the details and take a deep dive on things. We're not feeling small talky. Scorpio moon is not good for small talk. It's kind of sedate. Really, it's a good day to be kind to yourself and other people. We might be easily falling into road rage or, push shove kind of situations. And just take it easy. Take it easy. Easier said than done sometimes, I know. We're really going to want to pick our battles today, and I don't mean like shove your feelings, but no, we're going to want to document what's going on and not have a big confrontation right now, because we may really be at a bigger disadvantage than we are aware. Not to get all spooky on you. It's not a good day to, call somebody out. We're going to want to document things instead of confronting people. And we're going to take a page out of yesteryear's notebook and take smoke breaks. I used to smoke cigarettes. And it was really wonderful to be able to just be like, oh, I'm taking a smoke break, because the anxiety's building within you. Just let yourself have a smoke break. And, I'm not saying take up smoking, but like go wash your hands, go for a little walk, whatever activity you can do in just a few minutes to take a break and, calm yourself down, reorient. We're going to want to have that in our back pocket as something to do, for the foreseeable future. But on Monday, especially, on Wednesday, April 16th, the moon is going to be in Scorpio, and that is a big temperature switch, like from very serious Scorpio to wacky Sagittarius, like myself. It's a big different feeling. We're going from Mars-Pluto ruled moon to Jupiter ruled moon. So we're going from like within to more without. Instead of clamping down and confronting, Jupiter is more like more, So the feeling's quite different. But we're moving into Mars opposite Pluto again, and that's going to still put some testiness in the air, and that's going to grow until the two of them are exactly opposite when Mars moves back into Leo. We might really wake up kind of in a foul mood, but by 8 o'clock or so Central Time, that shall probably have dissipated. So, don't let yourself ride that horse all day. If you wake up feeling a little crabby and mad at the world, remember that feelings are temporary and we can do things to change our mood. And again, not stuffing our feelings. We want to feel our feelings, but we don't have to let that angst tell us all day long that it's going to be a bad day and we hate everyone, right? Doesn't help. On Thursday, we're getting into a better part of the week. On Thursday, the moon is going to be opposite Jupiter and still in Sagittarius. So that really amps up the Sagittarius energy. It can feel a lot more yay. But be careful not to overdo, because we might be, one of the downsides of Jupiter's energy is feeling like we are so on top of the world, we throw caution to the wind. So enjoy your experiences, feel good. That's great. And don't get so full of yourself that you're buying a brand new car, or that's what I mean by going overboard. Or, that angsty, angry energy from earlier in the week. We don't want that to creep up on us because we haven't done anything about it, haven't dealt with it, and have that explode on us on Thursday and Friday. But Thursday overall should feel pretty good. In the afternoon, the moon is going to be trine Chiron and the sun. So that is going to potentially, it could just bring more pain our way, because trines don't automatically make a happy meal out of whatever they're affecting. It's just a more fluid flow of energy. So we can be suddenly thinking about things that happened to us in the past that we need to heal. So this is a really good time, especially since we've got this buoyant Jupiter energy going on, to write down your impressions, like what's coming up for you today. And if you're at work or whatever and you can't deal with it, make some little notes about what's coming up so you can revisit it later and really try to heal those things. Put some more time into it. So on Friday, the moon is going to be in Capricorn, trine the sun. So again, this is another, the end of the week is not as bad as the beginning of the week. This is a little better. This is kind of cautiously feel-good energy. The only problem is the moon is going to square Mercury, so we might have a little difficulty, stickiness with getting our thoughts out there, expressing ourselves, and with getting places. So if you're, give yourself plenty of time, extra time to get places. Meanwhile, we should be keeping an eye on what do we really value, what's really important to us. We want to take care of what it is that's really important to us, and often we place a lot of value on what we think we should value and not on what we actually do value. So it's a good time to be putting that under the microscope. Are we really following our heart, or are we following the heart of what we've been told to follow? I just think somebody else's heart. Saturday is going to be a little chaotic. It's okay. It's not bad, right? We can roll with it. Stick to your plans as well as you can. It's protest day in the USA, so I hope I'll see you out there. And a little word about protesting. You'd be surprised if you've never been to a protest. It's fun energy. I've never been to a protest that didn't make me smile, because you're surrounded by people who think the same way as you, for the most part. And everybody is there for the same reason, and it feels really glorious. So I highly encourage you to turn out, show up, do the thing. Yeah. And this Uranus energy, which is what's going on Saturday, Uranus wants the best for everyone, and it kind of achieves it in ups and downs. But it's one of those arc bending towards justice kind of things. Like, maybe we don't see it in the moment, but in the end, that's where we're headed with Uranus. Sunday is Christian Easter, April 20th. And we're still riding that Venus-Uranus energy. So we can have opportunities for real joy and feeling appreciation for what we care about, what's really important to us. And it's important, too, that we stick to what's really important to us. For me, being with family on Easter has been traditionally very traumatic. So I'm going to value what is important to me and avoid situations like that. It's another day to expect the unexpected. And then at 12:20 to 6:21 p.m. Central Time, the moon is going to go void of course. So it's going to be difficult to get anything practical done, to get everything possible done ahead of time to prepare for Monday and the rest of the day, because besides it being void of course, when the moon goes direct at 6:21, it's going to be opposing Mars. So that is just going to make us feel tired and like we just don't have any energy. So it's a good idea to get your Monday morning prep stuff. I don't know about you, but I like to, have my breakfast and coffee made so that it's all ready when I get up, and especially on Monday morning, feel like I'm starting the week out, ready to go. And I'm really not going to feel like doing that on Sunday evening because of that whole moon opposite Mars situation. So that's my word of advice to you. Get your clothes laid out, if that's something you do. Overall, we don't want to push this week. We want to plan our work and work our plan without pushing, without shoving, without exposing, without, being forceful. We're just going with the flow. So overall, throughout the week, we're going to be keeping an eye on what we love, what's really actually important to us, our values. And remember that is where we are headed. We are moving towards embodying what we love and value. We have to be conscious of it, though, because of the way this energy works. It's Venus sextile Uranus, and sextiles are about, it'll just pass you by if you don't put a little effort into it. But with the smallest amount of effort, we can really manifest something. And another thing that accomplishes is reordering our values. So if we have an eye on what's important to us, then we can let all this other bullshit slide because it's not important. What is important is fill in the blank, your important value. That can be really our saving throw this week, is being mindful of what's actually important when all is said and done. Uranus is really kicking things towards progressive change. What's good for all of us, not what's good for the oligarchy. And all of the difficulty that we face this week, all the growls and barks and bites, are all objections to that push towards growth. And more than lip service growth, saying, oh yeah, we're for equal rights, but we're not going to do anything about it. We're just going to say that that's what we want. We're moving towards an actual change now. And that's why it's so uncomfortable. Like, of course, change is uncomfortable. So even the very best changes and growth in the world still come with some discomfort. So that's another thing to keep in your back pocket when things feel like very depressing and like we don't have any control. They want us to feel that way. Let's not do that. Let's pity them and get on with our work. It's like watching waves on a beach. You know, if you came in from outer space and you never saw waves on a beach, and the first time you saw the tide going out and that the wave receding and sucking all that water back, if you didn't know that that was going to come back and that, you know, the tide was going to come in and the wave was going to curl back over and come back, it would look like the end of the world, right? And that's where we are in this movie, is the tide's going out, the wave is pushing out, and we're all holding our breath and waiting for the tide to come back in. But it is going to, especially if we work on ourselves and move the energy of the whole world towards that place that we want to be, of love and understanding and human dignity for everyone. Remember that, you know, democracy keeps winning. We keep getting closer and closer. Remember that fascism doesn't win, and that we have a say in what's going on. Treat yourself well. Take really good care of yourself. Don't do things that you don't want to do. Don't stress yourself out over things you can't control. If you feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders, it's time to turn inward and do inside healing with your inside voices. Because that's how all of this change is going to transpire, is each and every one of us healing ourselves to heal the world. If you want some support in this matter, again, michellecraft.love, order a reading with me. I'd love to talk to you. So until next time, remember, I love your ass, but the universe loves it more. Bye.